Hey guys, Bugcat7 here. Okay, it is Thursday, April 11th, 2019, and I want to thank you for visiting the Stonewall Research channel here on YouTube. I really do appreciate it, guys. If you would kindly hit the like button, that would be super. Thank you. Alright, so today for you got a pretty interesting article about what might be the oldest written language found so far, although they keep on finding older and older stuff, guys, and it just smacks of human civilization going much further back than they really know. And this article happens to be about a place called Tartaria in Romania, which, I find is, just, there are no coincidences, I don't really believe. So here it is in Romania here, and here's Hungary, Germany's over here, Austria in between, so around this area here. It seems rather far away from where Great Tartaria was said to be. And as I went over in my video on Chinese Tartaria, that they were still teaching, this happens to be from the book from the 1850s in schools here in the United States about Chinese Tartaria. Okay, and about how it was a confederation of three different peoples. And two of those peoples were Asian Buddhists, worshiping Asian peoples who worshiped the Dalai Lama in Tibet. Okay, and one of them was a Islamic Turkic people. Okay, so it was confederation, Chinese Tartaria, and so was Great Tartaria itself too. It was a confederation of other peoples too. So, but just vestiges of an older civilization, maybe worldwide civilization that we just don't know anything about. And it so happens that this ancient language turns up the most, one of the, could be the oldest written language on the planet. Happens to be in this place called Tartaria in Romania. And we can see why after we go through this. So I can see if I can get through it, because it covers, actually, this is an article from 2014. And this is actually an update to this. So it's just interesting to see, the obstinacy of the mainstream and what they say and how they poo-poo it all. And then later on, when somebody makes some sense out of it, they're unapologetic about it or anything like that, but they acted like asses, So, but, they don't care about that, but they seem so stupid when they say what they say, and then somebody proves them wrong. And then they're not humble about it. There's no humility there at all. Okay, so let me try to get through this quickly for you. And it's very interesting, and this may be the oldest written language on, older than Sumerian Cuneiform, as we know about, was considered the oldest, written language on the planet. But now it doesn't seem to be so with, this archaeological evidence, which happened to be dug up in 1961 by this Nikola Vlasa person. So let me just read the article to it for you, and, let's try to get through it, because I got a couple other things here to talk about. So, in 1961, archaeologist Nikola Vlasa discovered what may be direct evidence of the earliest forms of writing in the world. While conducting an archaeological excavation at a Neolithic site in Romania, this Tartaria, Vlasa's team uncovered 3 small clay tablets containing indecipherable etchings, now known as the Trattoria Tablets. There have been varying interpretations of the meanings of the etchings on the tablets. Some believe that the etchings are a primitive form of writing, while others believe they are pictograms, random scribbles, religious symbols, or symbols of ownership. Okay, so then they don't really say it or anything, too hot, too specific, nothing interesting there, just some pictograms and religious symbols, nothing much. Okay. The tablets are each about 2.5 inches across. 2 are rectangular and 1 is round. The round tablet and 1 rectangular tablet have holes drilled through them. The clay tablets were unbaked, and they were discovered along with 26 clay and stone figurines, a shell bracelet, and damaged human bones. Some believe that the tablets were actually found within a sacrificial burial pit. The tablets are inscribed on only one side, and the inscriptions resemble a horned animal, an unclear figure, a vegetal motif, a branch or tree, a variety of mainly abstract symbols. Okay, so here's the picture of the things, and they got these, what they say is indecipherable things. But, this was in 2014, so, things get updated. All right. There is uncertainty as to the dating of the tablets. The conservation unit at the Cluj Museum in Romania baked the tablets to preserve them and to make carbon-14 dating possible. Who knows what that does, and I don't trust carbon-14 dating, but anyway. Initially, the tablets were thought to have originated as part of the Vinca Turtis culture, dating back to 2700 BC. That's awful far back. Through carbon dating, however, the tablets were shown to have possibly originated as far back as 5500 BC. Wow. During the time of the early Eridu phase of the Sumerian civilization. But like I always say, they give these dates based on their timelines and everything else, and they have no idea what the timeline is. It is so far off. We have no idea when these time periods really were. We just don't. Okay, so as far back as 5500 BC, during the time of the early Eridu phase of the Sumerian civilization in Mesopotamia, due to contradictory stratigraphic evidence, the estimation based on carbon dating are disputed. Naturally, they are always disputed because there's so much of margin of error in these things, and just there's some impossibilities that they just don't want to admit to. All right, there is much scholarly debate as to the meaning of the inscriptions on the tablets. Some scholars have concluded that the inscriptions are an early form of writing, so at this point they don't know if it's writing or not. They base this conclusion upon 4 assumptions. First, the inscriptions appear to be sequenced in rows. Second, each character appears to have one unequivocal meaning. Third, there are standard shapes that were used by scribes and other artifacts from the Danube civilization, which claimed to be very, very old, the Danube civilization. So, the fourth, the symbols create a rectilinear shape that is comparable to other archaic writing systems. While these assumptions lead to the conclusion that the inscriptions were an early form of writing, it is not known what type of writing they represent. The Catholics didn't help any during the Inquisition by all their book burnings and whatnot. Now we don't know what any of that stuff was, and we could have. Okay, so they're proud of their things there that they found. They have this monument there erected, I guess, there in Romania, which I'm sure is a very poor country. All right. So dated to 5500 to 5300 BC, they say. Who knows when. All right. Other scholars view the inscriptions to be a set of pictograms and random scribbles. Due to speculation that the tablets were found at a sacrificial burial site, many believe that the symbols were of a religious context. Some scholars believe that the human bones found with the tablets were those of a priest, a shaman, a spirit medium, or a high dignitary. Shunning Vlas's description of ritual sacrifice, some scholars believe that this person died in a fire and was then buried with the tablets because they were of importance to him while he had lived. Others still believe that the bones were those of a supreme, quote-unquote, supreme priest who was burned alive at the completion of his serving time in accordance with the Sumerian tradition in honor of the great god Sau. It has even been suggested that the two tablets with holes drilled in them may have been worn simultaneously in an overlapping pattern during some sort of initiation ceremony, which is, pure speculation. Much debate over the dating of the tablets stems from the inconsistency shrouding this discovery and subsequent baking of the tablets, I bet. Oddly, Vlasa was not actually present when the tablets were uncovered. The reason for his absence at the time was never explained. The tablets were found in a pit that contained high humidity and were covered in limestone. For this reason, the tablets were soft upon discovery. Interesting. Maybe a lot newer than they think. Before any photos were taken, the tablets were baked with a well-meaning but overly hasty intent to preserve them. Perhaps further analysis prior to baking would have provided answers to some of the questions that remain to this day. It has been argued that rather than making carbon dating possible, the baking has made it impossible for the tablets to ever make it through carbon testing. Overall analysis of the Trattoria Tablets has led to many interesting hypotheses about early human culture and the emergence of communication by writing. While ancient artifacts may initially appear to answer many questions about human civilization, in this instance, it is clear that some finds ultimately lead us to more questions than answers. Okay, so this was an article from 2014 about this Neolithic site where they found these tablets. They think they're, critics think they're just nothing but scribbles and religious symbols and all that kind of stuff. So here's a little update on the same site, Ancient Origins, on these tablets. And this is 2017, I think, or maybe it's current. Yeah, 2017. And the Tartarian Tablets actually written in Hungarian, and apparently some guy was able to translate this. Okay, so archaeologists in Bulgaria found writing that dates back 5,000 years. This writing found inscribed in clay is called the Trattoria Tablets by M.R. Rees. Rees makes it clear for ancient origins that the Trattoria Tablets, or Vincaturtis Tablets, were discovered by Nicola Vlasa, which we went over in the last article. Finding the Tartarians. Well, the Tartarians found in what N. Glass and archaeologists who worked on the site in 1961 called a quote-unquote ritual pit, along with 26 burnt clay idols and 2 Cycladic alabaster idols. So we know a little bit more about this in 2017. And it was done in 61, plus the scorched and disjointed bones of a man. He described the site as a magic religious complex. That's interesting. Although Dr. Glass has suggested that this man was probably a sacrifice, the research of Dr. Vamas Bader indicates that the man was more likely a priest who had died in a fire and was then buried with the ritual items he valued while alive. Okay, so maybe. The Hungarian scholar Dr. Vamos Bader believes that the Tartarian tablets are written in Magyar. Using Magyar, Vamos Bader believed he could read these mysterious inscriptions. Okay, there they are again. The people are proud of him there. They have this monument. Dr. Vamus Bader has opened up the world to a new knowledge about the toponyms and cultural traits that connected ancient civilizations around the world. He has been able to use linguistic, anthropological, and historical toponymic evidence to vividly make us aware of the Tamana culture. Difficulty deciphering the Trattoria Tablets. There are 3 Trattoria Tablets and controversy surrounds their content. Rees wrote that, quote, some believe the etchings are a primitive form of writing, while others believe they are pictograms, random scribbles, religious symbols, or symbols of ownership, unquote. Up until now, no one has conclusively deciphered the Trattoria Tablets. However, various researchers have stated that signs on the tablets have affinities with Proto-Sumerian, pre-dynastic Egyptian, Libyco-Berber, okay, like North Africa, Proto-Elamite, and Trojan writing. So that's a lot of stuff there. Zanatti has suggested that the dates for the tablets may be between 3,300 and 3,000 BC, or contemporary with Uruk IV of the Gemdet Nazir period in Mesopotamia. Many signs engraved on Vinca pots are comparable to pottery marks from Asia Minor ceramic ware, especially pottery from Troy. Hood observed that many of the vases made by Vinca potters have shapes that are basically akin to Trojan ones. Pots with dark polished surfaces, often decorated with incisions filled with white paste, are common both in the first settlement at Troy and the early phase of the Vinca culture. Vinca ware also show affinity with later pottery at Troy, unquote. Okay, so interesting. There's a little piece of it, I guess. You can see it there. Right. Is the script on the Tartarian Tablets from the Magyar language? Paliga believes that the Tartarian writing was the prototype script for the Cypriot syllabary or Cretan linear A signs. The finding by Paliga that the Tartarian tablets may relate to linear A signs was very interesting because Crete was settled by the Garamantes, who originally lived in Fezzan, Libya. The Hungarian people speak the Magyar language. Many researchers have assumed that the Magyar people only recently arrived in the Carpathian Basin from Asia, but this is not necessarily true for all the Magyar, okay? So, hints of Tartarian Empire, okay? Not necessarily true for all the Magyar, the ones that were there already. Okay. The Carpathian Basin was center for cattle, sorry about that, guys. The Carpathian Basin was a center for cattle rearing and copper mining during the Middle Neolithic. Dr. Vametov Beda has found thousands of toponyms that connect the Carpathian Basin to other parts of the world. The Magyar trace their origins back to ancient Nubia, which that's very interesting. The Avasurak, an ancient book of the Magyars, said that the name Uz was applied to the ancient Magyar, the largest tribe of the Black Huns. Interesting. Tibor Barath, in the, quote, early Hungarians, unquote, has given has given considerable amount of data which indicates that the Cushites from Nubia played an important role in the formation of the Magyar. As a result, we find that the Magyar-Hungarian language is closely related to Malinka Bambara and the Dravidian languages which were formerly spoken in Nubia, which, Nubia being Africa, I mean, you have the Berbers there and all of them in North Africa, so, it's just, who were the Nubians exactly, if there were these Berber people there. So they're just showing drawings of them again, I guess, here. The Hungarian scholar Janos Magyars examined incised Tartarian tablets, signs from 37 sites spread through Hungary and Romania. The presence of these tablets highlight the highly developed character of the ancient Magyar culture in Europe. Many scholars have attempted to decipher these tablets in the past. Jackie Gaber believed that the inscriptions were written in Sumerian and discussed taxation. In another attempt at deciphering, Barath recognized the tablets were written in Magyar and believed that they recorded an astrological event. So that's very interesting, okay? Astrological event. Vamostov used his knowledge of the Proto-Saharan writing system to decipher the Vinca Tertus of the Tartarian Tablets. Dr. Clyde Winters, in the Archaeological Decipherment of Ancient Writing Systems, makes it clear that the Proto-Saharan script was based on a Thinite writing. Dr. Vamostov believed that the Vincians used symbols identical to the Proto-Saharan script to represent Magyar phonetic values. Even though the Hungarian scholar Tibor Barath was correct in reading the tablets in Magyar, his interpretation of the words is incorrect. In 1983, Vamostov Beda deciphered a Tartarian tablet and discovered that it is not related to an astrological event. It was an amulet worn by a Proto-Magyar dignitary. Okay, and that's it right there. Interpreting the Tartarian amulets writing. This amulet was deciphered by giving characters of the Tartarian tablet phonetic values consistent with the Proto-Saharan script. Dr. Vamos Toth read the Tartarian inscription from left to right, and in Magyar we have this Jo Taj Dagu, goodness here adheres to you from the deity. Here the source of abundance. The deity is the source of unity. The deity is for me, which integrates me into one unity with the deity. So they deciphered this thing. When they were saying it was just scribbles and nonsense and everything, here's the article in 2017 saying that they deciphered these things, okay? And they conclude with, the significance of it, which is, there's even more to it than that. The decipherment of the Tartarian tablet by Dr. Vamos Toth Bader and Dr. C.A. Winters is important because it offers the first written evidence that man paid homage to a supreme power in Europe over 5,000 years ago. The Tartarian amulet is also important to world history because it is the earliest written document to appear in Europe. Moreover, the fact that Ko may relate to powerful leaders suggests that the Proto-Magyar people, as evidenced by the excavation of other Tartarian-type tablets on 37 sites, had a powerful elite that welded the prehistoric Carpathian basic villages into one of the world's earliest empires. Okay, so they're saying empire. And who are the Magyars, and, what are they all about? And, believe it or not, the ancient origins also goes back in a site in Bulgaria going back now 7,000 years, okay? So it just keeps on getting older and older, guys. But as far as the Magyars are concerned, basically you're talking about the Hungarian peoples, and that's, if you know anything about history, and I do a little bit, and, we call the Hun, the pejorative for Germans during World War II is that they were the Huns, correct? So they call them the Huns because they were these wild barbarian tribes. They what they called the Devil's Horsemen, the Mongol tribes, these barbarians, to sort of dehumanize them and stuff. The Devil's Horseman, which I read some time ago, many, many years ago. It's an older book already. And I think that's where I learned about the Magyars, and they're also relative to, like the Cossacks too. Again, another Turkic origins. These people are of all of Turkic origins. And the Magyar tribes, which cover Romania and these places where this, Neolithic site, archaeological site was, part of, these Magyar tribes. And take a look at these guys right here, okay? You're looking at maybe, Tartarian, military right there, okay? And they're taking a blood oath. These were like the Germanic tribes, but more intense. And if you, like I was saying, if you know anything about history, the Huns were petrified of the Magyars. They were scared to death of them. And, the Huns were pretty tough in their own right, as tribes. But they were definitely afraid of these guys, and Hungary has its own history, and it's all attributed to the Magyars, who were these, horseback military type societies, with these, fearsome horseback soldiers, that, were just unbelievable. And like I had mentioned in other video, like the Cossacks, part of their gig, and even today, is going around in Russia and other countries, like performing shows of their feats of, martial skills, which are incredible if you haven't seen them. Okay, and the Magyars are also similarly like that, these guys. So, like I said, look at this, you're looking at, look at their clothing and their stylization and everything. So, this indeed could have been, the language of Great Tartary as the earliest known language, written language actually, and not, Sumerian Cuneiform. Okay? So, you can see here the Hungarian social structure was of Turkic origin. The Magyars are Turkic origin, 7 clans, and later 3 more clans of the Kabar people. Okay, and they were fearsome horseback warriors. Okay, these devil's horsemen were more than just, the Mongols themselves. These people were in confederation with other military type horseback tribes where, and again, if you don't know anything about the martial skills of these people, like, the Cossacks give these demonstrations where they throw around a sword like it's unbelievable, cut apples off in people's hands without even touching their skin. Cut the apple right in half with a razor sharp sword right on top of somebody's hand, not without making a mistake. That's, first of all, you got to be pretty brave to put your hand out there. But they do these demonstrations, and it's amazing of their swordsmanship out in the public for money. Like the Chinese would do with their martial arts schools, when they needed money, they needed funds. They went out and performed these amazing physical feats, right? So, in any case, guys, I just wanted to show you these articles from ancient origins and show you how wrong they could be on the one hand, when they had first mentioned in the first article in 2014 that these things were nothing but scribbles and whatnot, and, that's not what they are. This fellow, these people were able to decipher these things, and it's a much older, unknown language, and they don't have much of it, right? Unless they discover more, which may be, the language of, Great Tartaria, Grand Tartaria, because, it may be part of this worldwide language, or, at least worldwide shared ideas, but, or at least a widely shared ideas on a, much further spread than we realize, going further back in time. And it keeps on getting older and older. So, in any case, all right, guys, end of the video. I hope you liked it, and please do hit the like button if you kindly would, and I'll see you again for a new video real soon. Bye now.